Alright guys, welcome to part 3 of the HTML series of lectures for R Markdown. We're going to finish strong here. We've already got a lot of the little trinkets of stuff that we can do in Markdown. But now we're going to kind of fine-tune a little bit of our HTML document and make it look nice and kind of see where we go. So let's get to work. Okay, so we just got done with making our fancy equation that didn't really mean anything. But now we're going to do a new section. We're going to call this code chunk options. So there are also options for your R Markdown file on how knitr. So I didn't talk much about knitr. So knitr is whoa. Voice crack there. So knitr is what compiles your Markdown code and moves it from being a Markdown file into a PDF or into a HTML file or into a Word file, etc. So there are also options for your Markdown file and how knitr, which that's why we click on the knit thing. Knitr interprets the code chunk. There are the following options. So we're just gonna kind of list some of the things that you can do here. So you can do eval, and you set that to either true or false. And what that does, it determines whether or not to evaluate the code chunk. So let's give that a try. So we're going to go up to one of our code chunks up here. And we're going to do this one right here. So we put a comma, and then we say eval equals, and then you can either do true or false. And we're going to say false now. So what that means is when this gets compiled from knitr, it's not going to run this code. So you can turn off sections of your code, right? So let's save it in knit. And so now it says it can't find B, right? Because we're calling for this right here to find B, and we're not evaluating it. So this was probably, here, let's do this instead. Let's cut this. Let's put a code chunk up here quick. So close that off, and we're going to say print hello world. Okay, so if we just normally knit this, you can see we have this print hello world here, right, underneath our last formula. I'm actually going to put this underneath our code chunk one. Let me say it one more time, so it's not kind of lost up there. Okay, so code chunk options. We have print hello world, and then that's our code, and then our output is hello world. So now, if I were to put in that eval equals false, and I were to knit it again, when it makes the final document, it doesn't put the actual code chunk, or the actual output, right? So it still says what is in the R code spot, right? But it doesn't print the results of that, which would be hello world. So another thing we could do is we can do echo, which is true or false, and that is whether or not to show the code for the chunk, but results will still print. So it's the opposite, right? So if we change this to echo equals false up here, and we were to knit it, oops, I have too many equal signs in here. Echo equals false, and save to knit. We see that it prints the output, but our code chunk's missing. So what if we put echo equals false, eval equals false, and we run it now? now you can see just nothing occurs, right? Because it doesn't run the code and it doesn't show the output. Or it doesn't show the code or the output. So you can, if you have stuff that you're like experimenting with, you're like, I don't know if I want to include this analysis yet, but I don't want to like delete it when I'm making a mark, or, you know, sending this report to someone, you can choose to hide it, so to speak. And so what else can we do? We can also cache. So this one I want you to be very careful with. So if you enable the cache, the same code chunk will not be evaluated the next time that the document, or the next time that knitr is run. So this is great for code that has long run times, where if you're trying to fine-tune something and this is really high upstream in your script, if every time it has to run this like 5-minute analyses, it's a pain in the butt. So you can cache it and you can have it run the analyses the first time and then never run it again. But this is where I say I caution you to be very careful. If you change something above what you cached, the value isn't going to change because it's been saved, right? That code chunk has been saved in place. So say you have a code chunk that is the average of this data table and you've cached it. Well, if you change that data table, it's not going to be reflected in that code chunk that you cached. So be careful with caching things. It can be helpful, especially when you're doing genomic stuff, but it can be bad. It can really add errors into your code if you change something that code chunk depended upon. Okay, another thing we can do is figure width or fig that height, and so that will change. So it's the graphical device, which is the graphical device size of the R plots in inches. The figures are first written to the knitr document, then to files that are saved separately. So what this is saying is you can have a knitr, your document can print or can make your graph in your Markdown file, but you can have it also save separately. So you have like JPEGs or PNG images of your graphs that are saved in a separate file location. And so this only changes the size of your saved files that are not in the knit document or not in your HTML file Markdown document. It'll be the ones that you saved externally. Say you wanted to like import them into a PowerPoint or whatever. This only changes that. So if you mess with this and you're like, why isn't my figure changing size in my Markdown file? It's because that doesn't control this. It first writes that figure to your Markdown file, then saves it with your changed figure width afterwards. So if you're creating a publication, this is very handy because like I make a lot of my almost all my figures in R, and to submit to a journal, you have to produce TIFF documents or very high resolution documents or figures for your journal, and so you can denote how big you want them in your resolution and print them out separately, so you don't have to, if you try to like cut out of a PDF, the resolution isn't that good. So this is good for publication purposes. Out width or out height is the output size of the R plots in the R document. So this is the one where if you change this output widths or output heights, it changes how big your figure is in your HTML file or your PDF file, whatever you're knitting. The other is fig cap. So you can create a figure caption, words for the figure caption. And so let's do this one real quick. Where was our figure? Okay, so up here we're going to write fig. See, there's a whole bunch of things you can do. You can align it to center, left, or right. Change your dimensions, your height, etc. Some of these things I don't even know what they do. But we're going to do just caption. Like I said, this is just a brief intro. You can get really in the weeds with this stuff. And so we're going to say guinea pig, pig, tooth, growth. Oops. Okay, let's knit it and see what happens. I hope it works. Oh, I didn't put it in there. Hold on. Let's see. That's weird. Why isn't it putting it in here? Fig cap. Maybe because maybe I don't need quotations. Let's try it again. Let's see. Fig cap equals weird. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, so this is, all right. So we'll say, oh gosh, can't type. Figure 1, the tooth growth of guinea pigs when given variable amounts of vitamins. Okay, and now let's name it. Oh. End quotation. Okay. Now let's name. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Here's our caption underneath, right? Figure 1. The tooth growth of guinea pigs when given variable amounts of vitamin C. So it puts it underneath that code chunk there. Okay. Excuse me. All that work for a little line of text like that. Okay, so that's kind of, like I said, there's a whole bunch more that you can do. These are kind of ones that are used, or at least I use fairly frequently, but you can get much more into the weeds if you're interested. All right, so I like this one a lot. We're going to do table of contents. Okay, so we can also add a table of contents to our HTML document. We do this by altering the YAML. All right, so code, and I'm going to explain what this is, but also we're going to narrate here. It's the weird code chunk at the very top of the document. Okay, so the YAML, if we go way to the top, is this. Between the 3 ticks, it's got our title, our author, our date, which is whatever the date our computer thinks it is, our output type HTML document. So that's the YAML. Excuse me. So for an HTML, or for a table of contents, we have to alter that in order to create a table of contents. So we're going to go up to the YAML here, and we're going to put this HTML document on the next line and tab it in like that. And then we're going to put a colon, not semicolon, colon. And then we're going to write TOC, which is table of contents, and we're going to set that to true. And we are going to run it. So if you look at the top, we have our table of contents. And you'll notice what the table of contents is based on is our hash marked section headers, right? So you see we have first level header, second level header, third level header. So we have first level header, second level header, third level header, and then we have black quotes. And the nice thing is you click on it and it takes you right there, right? That's pretty cool, huh? And so as you continue to use black quotes for your code, then the table of contents will update. But we can make it cooler. So let's do talk float. So table of contents float. Spell float right, not play out. Hey, geez. Coming off the rails, Isaac. Coming off the rails. Okay. What am I doing? True. Let's set it to true. All right, let's knit. Save and knit. Now we have the table of contents over here floating. And what's cool is as you scroll down, it will open up to what's like on the page, right? Pretty cool. So, you know, black quotes, hyperlinks. You can click, like if you're at the top here, you can click down and it'll take you to whatever you want. So I told you we're gonna make this look pretty cool, I think. Okay, so, and as you scroll, you can, you see it opens and closes like that. Okay, so let's go back down. So I'm just gonna copy this and I'm gonna put it down here. And I'm going to say, let's make sure we annotate this and say you can add this and then just paste it, just so we have it somewhere outside of our YAML. This will give us a very nice floating table of contents on the right hand side of the document. Okay. Okay. Let's do themes. Or nope, sorry, tabs. We're gonna do tabs first. So you can also add tabs in our report. To do this, you need to specify each section that you want to become a tab by placing this exact code dot tab set I hope this doesn't mess up because it's thinking it's acting like it's gonna want to make this a tab. So every subsequent header will be a new tab. Okay, so let's take this, copy it. I'm gonna put quotations around this just so it doesn't, it's still acting like it's gonna tab it. Alright, so let's do where should we put this? Let's do it where, no, too far. Let's do it under the code chunk part. Code chunk options. Okay, so we put this dot tab set. And let's knit and see what happens. Oh, we need to do it to, I know my problem. All right. get rid of it here. We need it on a level 1 header. So do we have any? Let's make this. Where did that code chunk one go? Formulas, code chunks. So let's just call this, let's do a level 1 header here. Do code chunks. Because we need smaller headers underneath it for it to actually put into tabs. That's the way it reads it, right? So, code chunks. Here we go, beautiful. So now we have tabs here, right? So we say code chunks, we have code chunk options, we have table of content, and we have tabs that are now in our Markdown document. Okay, beautiful. So let's do, I see errors as I'm looking back at my thing. Excuse me. Themes. So you can also add themes to your HTML document that change the highlighting, color, and hyperlink color of your HTML output. This can be nice aesthetically. And then to do this, you change your theme in the YAML to one of the following, which are Cerulean, Journal, Flatly, Readable, Space Lab, near and dear to my heart, United, Cosmo, another near and dear to my heart, being a space biologist, Lumen, Paper, Sandstone, Simplex, Yeti, and null means no theme. So I'm gonna pick Space Lab, and I'm gonna go to the very top, and what it is under, let's see, how do I do this again? Talk float. So under, I'm gonna write theme, and I'm gonna write Space Lab, and I'm going to save and knit. So as you can see, we have this, what was light blue, so it's kind of, all right, kind of hard to tell. So we have blue and blue. So let's change it now to Cosmo and see what happens. We have a lighter blue. I need one that's like some real drastic change. I'm picking, of course, the space ones are gonna be blue. Oops. Let's do, what one would be a good, Cerulean, whatever. I don't even know if I've heard that word before. Okay, so we, another blue. How about, wasn't Sandstone one? With an N and not a, oh, answers. Sandstone. There we go. So you can see our colors are a bit different here. We have a gray instead of blue. Our hyperlinks are green instead. I just so happened to pick, I guess blue must be aesthetically pleasing. There's one that was real red that I thought looked pretty cool, but I'm not going to go through all of them. I haven't memorized them all. But yeah, so you can change that, your theme. You can also change the, oh my gosh, color by specifying highlight. So you can do default, tango, payments, Kate, monochrome, espresso, zenburn, haddock, and textmate. Textmate. Oops, no period. So you just go up here. Highlights, and we'll do espresso. It's gotta be like a brownish, right? Tan or something. We were kind of already in that. Let's do United. Let's try this. There we go. Oh, this is the red one. Yeah, so you can change it in incorporation with this. And also, I didn't show this. Let's do Tango. There are some of the... I wonder if this is overriding this. There we go. So yeah, so the theme and highlights, you can only pick one of the two, but you can also get these background. These are the highlights to change as well, and so. Okay. Anyways. And the last thing we're going to do is code folding. So you can also use the code folding option to allow the reader to toggle between displaying the code and hiding the code. This is done with code folding hide. So we take this and we put this under your HTML document, and let's knit. So now you can see that you can open and hide your code. So if, say you're giving this to somebody, you're giving this to multiple people, and some people are coders and they want to see how you did it, and some people are just someone that wants to see the results. So you can have it so your code hides and opens. So if someone's interested in seeing what the code is, they can click on it. If not, they don't have to do it. So as you can see, we're building a really cool document here. We got our nice table of contents, our hideable code, our tabs down here. So we'll incorporate this more when we, if you continue on to do some more bioinformatics learning paths with me as well. So lastly, we're going to write a little summary. Summary is there are a ton of options and ways for you to customize your R code using HTML formatting or format. This is also a great way to display this is key, your work if you are trying to market yourself to interested. So we're in the next video, we're going to get into R pubs, which is a way that we can put this online actually, because right now it's just a document that you can send to somebody and it opens in a browser. But we're going to talk about how we can actually make this like a website for free. This is a great way to show your analyses if you are interviewing for a job as a research assistant and you've marketed that you can do R, or if you're going to find a job as a data scientist or anything like that, bioinformatician. This is a great way to make a very nice presentation that you put online. You just send someone a hyperlink and be like, hey, check it out. This is my, my analyses. So that's all I got. This is a longer video. I'm going to get out before you guys fall asleep. So I hope you learned something. We're going to learn about how to put this in a short video onto the web so you can market yourself, and I will catch you in the next one.